This video will walk you through the guidelines for using the dialogue tool of INCITE-DEM to understand community dynamics. To start, picture a case from your own context, such as a local government proposing road construction through a residential area. Each community member has the right to express their stance, influenced by factors like convenience, safety, aesthetics, ecological concerns, and more. The aim of the dialogue tool is to simulate dynamics in diverse community scenarios, fostering meaningful discussions and deepening shared understanding. Let's explore the tool now. In the first situation, there are two groups, one advocating for change with a bit less vocal expression, and the other group advocating for change with slightly more vocal expression. The parameter settings are as outlined in the table on the right side. As demonstrated in the introductory video accessible via the provided link, the dynamics of these groups are primarily influenced by adjusting two key sliders. The slider, against or for change, determines the inclination towards innovation, with higher values towards the right indicating a greater openness to change, and lower values towards the left denoting a preference for maintaining the status quo. Similarly, the slider, less or more vocal, controls the level of outspokenness within the groups, with higher values towards the right signifying a more vocal stance, and lower values towards the left indicating a quieter disposition. For example, in the first situation, both groups exhibit a similar inclination towards change, reflected by a value of 0.8 on the slider, against or for change. Group 1 demonstrates a slightly reserved vocal stance, marked by a value of 0.4 on the slider, less or more vocal. And Group 2 displays a somewhat higher level of vocal expression, with this slider set at 0.6. Additionally, both groups consist of 20 individuals, as defined by the number agents. We'll now go through a 4-step process to deploy the tool. Step 1. Reset the tool. Step 2. Configure the community with two groups, and conclude the voting period at tick 80. This means that at tick 80 the simulated community will conduct a vote regarding the plan, after which the simulation stops. In Step 3, we establish the groups. Set the sliders for Group 1 to against or for change at 0.8, less or more vocal at 0.4, and number agents to 20. Click Add Agents to introduce this group. Next, for creating an additional group, modify these three sliders. For Group 2, readjust against or for change to 0.8, less or more vocal at 0.6, and number agents to 20. Click Add Agents to form this group. Moving to Step 4, click the button Set up Community to prepare the entire community. To initiate the model, you can click Go once for a single step or choose Go for continuous execution. In this case, we'll select Go. We see, initially, in the simulated community, opinions on the proposed idea vary. The majority, represented by smiling faces with green hats on the right, support the proposal, while a smaller subset expresses discontent with sad faces. Meanwhile, a minority on the left opposes the proposal, with red-hatted faces showing varying degrees of satisfaction. Through community discussions, perspectives shift dynamically over time. Even those who were initially uncertain often find themselves fluctuating between supporting and opposing positions, ultimately resulting in a unified community of happy supporters. This signals a widespread satisfaction with the plan evident during the final vote. In the second situation, there are two groups. One comprises opponents of change with less verbal expression, while the second group consists of proponents of change with more vocal expression. Detailed parameters are provided in this table. Group 1 represents opponents of change with a less vocal expression, denoted by a value of 0.2 on the slider, against or for change, and 0.4 on the slider, less or more vocal. Conversely, Group 2 embodies proponents of change with a more vocal expression, marked by a value of 0.8 on the slider, against or for change, and 0.6 on the slider, less or more vocal. Moreover, each group comprises 20 individuals, as specified by the number agents. And then following the 4-step sequence from the previous situation. Step 1. Reset. Step 2. Configure the community with two groups, end voting at tick 80. Step 3. Establish the two groups. For Group 1, set the sliders for against or for change, less or more vocal, and number agents to 0.2, 0.4, and 20 respectively, then click the Add Agents button. For Group 2, readjust the sliders to 0.8, 0.6, and 20 respectively, and click the Add Agents button. Step 4. Click Set up Community followed by Go to initiate execution. We see in the simulated community, initially, the majority in Group 1, pink faces, opposes the plan, while the majority in Group 2, blue faces, supports it. As interaction unfolds, opinions shift and intergroup connections weaken. Eventually, the community divides, with isolated groups holding opposing stances. This outcome characterizes the situation as a divided community, which is an undesirable situation that we aim to prevent. In the third situation, the community again divided into two groups. One group shows slight reluctance to change and is less vocal, while the other group embraces change and is more vocal. Parameter settings are detailed in this table. Group 1 exhibits a slight reluctance towards change and communicates less, indicated by a value of 0.4 on both the against or for change slider and the less or more vocal slider. In contrast, Group 2 actively embraces change and demonstrates increased vocal expression, with values of 0.8 on the against or for change slider and 0.6 on the less or more vocal slider. Additionally, both groups consist of 20 individuals each, as specified by the number agents. We'll initiate the model following the same procedure used in the previous two scenarios. We see in the simulated community that initially, individuals in two groups have diverse opinions on the proposal. Whether opposing or supporting, most people seem content with their choices, as shown by smiling faces. However, after discussion, a significant shift occurs as some individuals switch from opposing to supporting. By the end of the voting period, everyone aligns as supporters, but a significant number of people have sad faces, indicating dissatisfaction with the collective decision. This is why we call it an unhappy community, which is an outcome we would rather not see. The three situations we've just presented serve as examples, but you might be interested in exploring a situation that differs somewhat. You have the flexibility to adjust the model settings to simulate your specific scenario. For instance, you might want to simulate a situation where 3 or 4 distinct groups of varying sizes coexist. Alternatively, you could explore a scenario where 2 or 3 particularly outspoken individuals strongly oppose or advocate for a plan. Through experimentation with the simulation, you can observe how different group dynamics may emerge from various scenarios. After exploring a particular situation, discussions may arise regarding the observed group dynamics, interpretations, underlying causes, timing, and potential alternative solutions. These insights can be valuable for reflecting on the potential social dynamics that could occur in real-life situations. We encourage you to share your experiences and engage in dialogues on these aspects, as well as any other relevant issues that arise during the exploration process.